Hey guys, how's it going? My name is Brendan, and if you didn't know, now you know. Welcome back to the channel. And today I'm going to be making the case for a $20,000 Bitcoin. I'm going to be laying this out as plain and simple as possible so that everyone can understand what I'm saying. So if that sounds interesting at all, make sure you guys stick around. There's going to be a lot of technical analysis, a lot of historical analysis, and this should make some pretty simple sense by the end of this. So again, if that sounds interesting, stick around for the entire length of the video, as there will be important information discussed the entire way through. But that being said, let's go ahead and dive on into this guy. Now, first things first, if you guys want to look at everything bullish that I talked about, look to yesterday's video where I explained really just everything that I thought was bullish about Bitcoin, why it was bullish, the levels that it needed to break. And today we're going to be talking about the flip side of that argument, which is everything bearish about Bitcoin. And there is some pretty good evidence here that we need to talk about. Now, first things first, if we want to measure Bitcoin from top to bottom from where it's been on this run, it's been, roughly about 50% or so. If we look down here, this is saying around, if we tighten this up, about 53%. Now, if we look towards the last bull run of where Bitcoin retraced from the initial downfall from its all-time high, I'm going to pull that guy up. It's going to be towards the end of 2017, beginning of 2018. And when this guy topped out over here, we kind of saw the same thing happen. In fact, if we want to measure this guy from top to bottom from the initial pullback, this guy was just around that 50% mark as well. So hopefully, I think I'm blocking that just a little bit. Let's go ahead and make this a little bit bigger so that you guys can see it. But if we were to measure this one from top to bottom as well, this would just be around 50%, which is right where we're at right now on this initial pullback from the 2021 run. Now, is this a coincidence? Because I've talked about this happening and the similarities of this in a couple of the past videos, but with Bitcoin falling almost identically to what it did in 2017, does that confirm that this is the top? And while I don't think that this confirms that it is 100% the top, again, these two correlations between the 2021 run and the 2017 run are becoming more and more alike the longer this goes on. The way that this formed, again, we have a beautiful head and shoulders on the 2021 run, and the way that we are falling through support and reacting, even to the amount that we are retracing to that 50% mark from the initial bottom. Now, if we go back and we look at that the 2017 run, we know that once Bitcoin bounced off of this 50% retrace mark, which is about where we're at right now, it had a fairly nice bounce. Not only did it get bought up a lot, which is something that we are kind of seeing a lack of at this stage of Bitcoin, but yes, we did kind of trail down, we did kind of consolidate, but ultimately Bitcoin retraced from this 50% mark all the way back up about 65% before it continued to a new low after this point. So that could be something that we could be watching to see on Bitcoin. Now, this is a little bit different because Bitcoin is already below the 200 EMA and the 50 EMA on the 2017. So there is a little bit of difference here, but either way, if this is going to be anything like the 2017 run, there might be lower prices to come, hence the price prediction of the $20,000 range. Now, fast tracking back to where we're at over here on Bitcoin, I know we're going a million miles an hour, but I like to keep these videos somewhat short. One of the big things that I was watching for is that rejection of, again, former support turned resistance, and that is exactly what has happened. This has continued to happen. We saw that double rejection of this former support area being the former all-time high for Bitcoin, just around 42,000. We saw a double daily candle support until the third daily candle actually ended up falling through this, and that's where the initial breakdown ended up happening. Now, we are still forming kind of this interesting consolidation, almost in the form of a pennant, where we have these two higher swing lows and these couple of lower swing highs as well. So we are kind of consolidating in a form of increasing support and declining resistance. So I think that we are eventually going to work our way into a squeeze, probably somewhere in between the 41 and $33,000 area. I think that as this happens, we will kind of squeeze our way into here until we break out one way or another. Now, if the bulls really want to break out here, I've said it before and I'll say it again, they have to break $42,000. This is going to be a crucial area for any kind of a bull to break, because immediately I really don't see much stopping Bitcoin going from 42 to about 47,000. There is going to be some minor resistances here and there, but again, 47 and then almost immediately probably 49 to 50. Now, if this big kind of support breaks for Bitcoin at 30K and we do hit a new low, this is kind of it. There really isn't much left for Bitcoin to hold on to after this. We've already started rejecting what we have seen on this 200 EMA on the daily time scale, and one of the things is if we really break here, guys, there isn't too much left for Bitcoin. I mean, what's the next support? I mean, maybe a minor support at 23, and then maybe some more at around 19, 20, which is where the previous all-time high was. So, I mean, if this thing falls past this point, I think that it is certainly going for at least a 61.8 retracement, which, if you guys don't know, that's the golden fib for Bitcoin. It's known to retrace through there, and one of the things that I've said in the previous videos is that if Bitcoin is likely to retrace to anywhere, I think that the most likely place for it to retrace is in between that 60 and 80% mark, because that is typically where the bear markets bottom out, and they usually do take some time. A lot of people tend to believe that this is going to be like a 1 or 2 month thing, and Bitcoin will be back at its all-time high after, by the end of June. And I just, again, as someone who's been in this space for years now, and making videos on this for like 4 years now, on top of that, that is just not the way that cryptocurrency usually works. Not in a market like this. These bear markets and pullbacks will take some time to recover, and if this is the beginning of a bear market, this will take months to a year to recover. So the way that I view this is essentially just a time to accumulate. But if we are looking for that 60 to 80% mark, a 60% retracement on Bitcoin would be about $26,000, and an 80% retracement on Bitcoin would be just around, I think, $13, or excuse me, not 13, $13,000. So somewhere in between that, like, $26,000 and probably $12,000 mark is kind of my really heavy area that I want to accumulate. I did not start accumulating any cryptocurrency until Bitcoin went under 37,000. That was kind of my green light to say, all right, I will start reinvesting parts of my portfolio, because I was like, if not 100% out, like 99% out. I had less than 1% of my crypto portfolio left in cryptocurrency after like 50 or 60K. So with Bitcoin being at this low, I can still potentially make a 100% return if things return back to their all-time highs at this current point, which is something that I'm content with. So, once again, nothing I say is legal, financial, or tax advice in any way. But with Bitcoin making this argument over here, if we continue to see rejection, if we continue to have these death crosses, and if this death cross does continue to move, where this 50 is looking to cross over this 200, which is the yellow band crossing downwards over the pink band, that would be an even worse sign. So I am looking for the rejections. I'm looking for this support area to break on Bitcoin, and if that does break, I think that Bitcoin will see another massive leg down like we have seen already. Now, if we're counting the legs, a lot of people like to talk about the you can call it Elliott waves. I don't like to call it Elliott waves. I don't like Elliott waves. Props to the people who make them work. But I like to think that Bitcoin likes to typically move in sets of 3 legs for macro moves. Now, this would be our first leg, bear flag, second leg, bear flag, and then hopefully or potentially a third leg after this one, which is where Bitcoin could really start to see some consolidation and maybe bottom out in the 20s or upper teens range. So obviously that's just a theory. I would really think that Bitcoin needs to hold this. This is kind of a very significant point, because if Bitcoin can't pass through 42,000, it is extremely strong for the bears. And if the bears can't break 30,000, then that's going to be pretty strong for the bulls. Now, it's really just a matter of what's going to break first, the major resistance or the major support, and whichever one does break first, I think that we will see some good buying pressure come out of Bitcoin. But as it stands right now, there's definitely more resistance on this chart than there is support, which is something that I think makes people nervous about investing in this area. Now, we did see the bear flag, or excuse me, this was, I don't know if I'd call this a bear flag, I'd call this a pretty neutral flag. But with this pennant forming up here, I would watch something very, very similar to happen right in this area of where we're at right now. So over the course of the end of April, beginning of June, I would expect that we would form either a pennant like we did right here, which is lower highs and higher lows, squeezing into a triangle like this, or just a bear flag, which is essentially just a rising channel of sorts, much like we saw right in this area. So that is going to wrap up the video, but I want to know your guys' thoughts on this in the comment section down below, as volume is still decreasing. We saw some nice volume come in from the selling, but as that continues to fall off for I think about the 3rd or 4th or 5th day now, I want to know your guys' thoughts on this in the comment section down below. Let me know what you guys think. Are you bullish? Are you bearish? Make the case for your argument, and I would love to see it. So once again, guys, I thank all of you for watching. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and I will see all of you in the next video.